So we're talking handstand rocks. Handstand rocks. Wrist strength, tricep strength, shoulder strength, and it's going to improve your handstand awareness and skill. You need to be comfortable working overhead with these, have decent range of motion in the shoulders, otherwise they're not a good idea. Then of course you need a safe setup. These will scale from absolute beginner level, where you just pop your feet on a chair and just practice the motion, all the way up to pretty advanced, where you do it feet up on a wall. These are quite a fun drill to do in the class setting. I mean, we make them part of the Strength Sessions program, firstly because they'll make you stronger in a lot of places, the wrists, the triceps, the shoulders. Then a lot of people I train like to work towards doing some handstands and doing things that are other than just pure strength moves. So we get the strength benefits, plus we get the skill benefits and the practice and the awareness benefits of actually working ourselves towards a more and more vertical position, and more towards doing an actual freestanding handstand. So choose your setup. Are you going to start on a chair? Have you got something a little bit higher than the chair so you can get a little bit more vertical? Or are you accomplished enough to start working your way up the wall, either in a tuck position or even in straight body position? So straight hands makes it a little bit easier to control the handstand, because you can grip easier and stop yourself going forwards. But if you turn them out, it's a little bit easier to get more of a lean, because it's easier flexibility wise, especially if you're a bit tight in the wrists. So find yourself a happy medium from straight to slightly rotated out, and then we go from there. Width isn't that important. If you go too narrow, again, it's hard flexibility wise to get much lean. If you go too wide, it's just not very realistic to where you would do a good handstand. So anywhere you're happy with, I would say avoid going too narrow on these at first and just get comfortable with it. So once you've got your finger spread and you set your width, the important thing, we're working towards externally rotating from the shoulder and turning the bicep forwards, as in all these gymnastic drills, we want that locked arm position. So the more accomplished you are throughout, the more you can maintain that position. The more tired you are, or the more tight you are, and the more you struggle to get into good mechanics, the more that's going to happen. So get on your setup, squeeze your elbows towards each other, get that external rotation, and then try and get yourself upside down into that handstand position. You're trying to maintain that in the handstand and in the rock. It's very challenging, but that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. Once you've got your hand width and you're set up, we've got to do the moves. So firstly, we want your absolute best quality handstand position. That means as locked as you can maintain. That means as open as you can in the shoulders, which means you're basically as a straight line from your torso right through your arms. So you're as vertical as you can get. So we've got to find that position. So if I'm using this chair here, I can get up all the way like that. I might get a massive stretch in my hamstrings. That's fine, embrace that. That's a nice side effect. So firstly, squeeze your elbows together, push the floor away, tense up your traps, shrug away from the floor, and dominate that handstand position. The absolute best position you can get. If you've got something higher than a chair, like a mat or a wall, then you can pop your feet that little bit higher, and you might well be able to get your torso completely vertical. No, ruining the shed. Probably about there. So you're in your handstand position, then we've got to do the rock. So you get up there and you lock in for a couple of seconds. Neatest position you can, chest towards the feet, bum towards the ceiling, pushing and lifting from the floor. Then the move itself, you look forwards so you know where you're doing, you don't see where you're going. You lean forwards, you keep those arms locked, you lean as far as you can, shoulders past your hands, you control, and then you lift back up, push back up, recover. But don't half-ass this position, do it like you mean it. So you look and lean, fight, bum up, push back up. So the much tougher position is as you lean, but don't half-ass it. When you come back up, right back up, chest in, bum up, keep working just as hard to get up there, to get the chest in, to get the shoulders open, and to maintain good mechanics throughout. Typically we do about 5 reps for a set. Make sure you're in a safe setup. So if you're a beginner, you want to be able to drop your knees and get out of there if it's too tough. I could also train this really hard, going from the lower setup, the more beginner setup, so to speak, and I can really work my hamstrings, get that benefit here, and work here, but I can get a bigger lean so I can work towards my planche training, and then back up, even if you're on an easy setup. But if you can get a little bit more elevated, it's a little bit more realistic to an actual handstand. You might not be able to rock as far, so both ways of training have their benefits. So if I'm doing it on the wall, without ruining anything else in the shed, hopefully, I can get here completely vertical. I can stay here a long time. I'm happy here. I've done a lot of handstands in my time. But the lean is much tougher. So I'm going to lean, it's hard already. I can push a bit more. I fight, straighten the arms, and then back up. This is where I recover a little bit. Then I lean. Now I'm working. Hold. Back up. Now it's important, make the exercise fit you. Beginner, advanced, intermediate, it doesn't matter. If furniture doesn't fit you, if your wall, if your setup doesn't fit you right, it's going to take away from the exercise. So if you're a beginner and you want your feet low, that's fine as long as you've got flexible hamstrings. What often happens to guys who come to do this class, they're quite strong but they're not used to the sort of training we do, is they'll get themselves stuck in this sort of planche position because their hamstrings are too tight to get up here vertical. So whereas I'm going to rock forwards and up, they'll already be stuck here. They've got nowhere to go. So guys like that, it'd be much better to use a windowsill, the back of a couch, a wall if you can handle it, so that you can actually get the vertical start position. Because from there, then you've got room to move forwards and back up. If you're already stuck here, firstly, you've got nowhere to go. Secondly, it's a harder position to hold than the most vertical upright position. So you're going to bloody hate these. So try and get the right setup, and then you can really work the contrast between the handstand position, which is open shoulders, all of the delts, all of the traps working to hold you there, and the planche position, which relies more heavily just on the anterior delt, the wrist strength and the bicep tendon strength as you lean. So take your time, get the right setup, it helps. Don't feel pressured to go to a harder setup. Find the setup you can get good work from. Build confidence, and then in time you can go more and more advanced. This is just 1 month of training, right? What we like to do over the course of a month is keep your exercise fairly consistent and just gradually increase the volume and difficulty a tiny bit. So it doesn't have to be dramatic. Find what you're confident working for a whole month, knowing that with the Strength Sessions program, this month will be repeated every 4 months, and there's more handstands of different styles in other months where you can keep building your ability. So start where you are. Train with ambition over the long term, but make sure this month is realistic. So if you're quite advanced on these, you can do the handstand rock up in a straight body position. However, it will limit your rockability. You will not rock as far unless you're really advanced. I would train these always if you're ready for it, but mostly I would train it in a tuck on the wall because you can get more movement. If you do go in a straight body position, just be aware it's very easy to just arch the back as you edge the shoulders out. So if you feel your back hurting at all, that's no good, because it's basically where what we consider a bad handstand. As you rock out, ideally the hips should come with you and you should have more of a straight line still through the torso. If you get too banana-y, it's bad training and it's possibly going to hurt the back, so be very careful with those. So the key mistakes to avoid: don't go for a setup that doesn't suit you. Don't let the arms bend as you lean forwards. Don't fall on your face. Don't crack your kneecaps when you fall off the wall. Don't half-ass the top position. Yes, it's easier than the rock position, but it's still important strength work, and it's still really important for your handstand training that you can get your shoulders fully open. You can get that straight line from your torso right through your arms, through your shoulders to your hands. That might mean more flexibility work, more hanging work, and more conscious awareness practice till it all comes together and you can do a really good handstand. Just keep working steadily towards it, and over the months you'll find you get better and better, and you get a more straight position, and it gets easier to hold, and you get more confident with it. So that's what we're working to. Accept where you are now, get stuck in.